Hello guys, welcome to eForm Advanced Tutorials, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create quiz or score based forms using eForm. We start by simply creating a new form, and for this demonstration I'm going to name it quiz. And also for the demonstration I'm going to set a flat redirection to the trackback page. We'll see what happens in the trackback page in a while, and then I'm going to add a container. I'm going to name this page 1 out of 2. Now in order to make a quiz, we actually need to assign scores to form elements. Not all form elements support assigning scores, but most of them are grouped inside multiple choice questions or feedback and upload elements. For other form elements, none of the items can have scores inside them, so we are going to stick to these two. So let's start by adding a single option and adding a multiple option to the form. Okay, so for the single option we have several list of options. As you can see, the form has already given us 3 options. We can add more if we like. So to make a quiz out of it, we need to assign scores. So any positive score is picked as the correct answer by eForm, and 0 and negative scores are picked as the wrong answer. So for demo we are going to add scores, say 5, 0, 0, -1 to our first element. For the second, let us do something similar. 5, then -1, then -1. Okay, now I'm gonna view the form. So I'm gonna submit it randomly and let's see what happens. As you can see, I'm redirected to the trackback page where it says I have obtained a score 4 out of 10. For the first element I have obtained 0 score, and for the second one I have obtained 4. We can also highlight the correct answers in the trackback page by simply going to form settings, resultant email, summary table, highlight correct options with maximum score. And if I refresh the trackback page, then let's see what happens. The correct options are now highlighted. One element can have more than one correct answer. Let's add another option to it, option 5, and we are going to assign a score 2. Now let's refresh the form and submit it. Now in the trackback page, as you can see, option 1, that is the option with the maximum score, is highlighted, but option 5 also has a score of 2. So the score obtained is 2 out of 5. And for the second one, the score obtained is 5 out of 5 because I have selected option 1 only. Similarly, we can do scoring with Dropdown. 5, 0. You can also have negative markings with thumbnail selection. Say 5, 0, 0, and 0. You can also have matrix questions and matrix dropdown. So for the columns, we can assign scores. Say 10, 5, column 3 to 0. And for matrix dropdown, we can assign scores to the drop-down options, and we can add a score multiplier to the columns. 10, 5, 0, and we add multiplier 1 and 2. Now let's see what happens. Okay, we select our options accordingly. Submit the form. and you can see the scoring has been processed accordingly. So the trackback page also shows the score obtained out of total for a single element. You can hide it from the settings if you do not want it to show up. From summary table, and disable the option to show individual scores for elements. If I refresh the page, then individual scoring options are not shown. For this demo, I'm going to keep it enabled. Right. Okay, so that was all about basic scoring system of eForm. We also have elements like single slider and single range. Sorry, not single range, but single slider. These elements can also assign scores to the total system and also have a score multiplier. It is not really necessary for setting up quiz-like forms, but might become necessary for setting up, say for example, product evaluator or something like that. We're not going to get into that discussion. Now I'm going to show you how to add score on sortable list. So for sortable list, user is able to sort between items. So the system has given us 3 lists of options, like item 1, item 2 and item 3. So the position in which you keep them in the form builder is considered as the correct position or correct order. User can change them. So for the correct order, you can have a base score set 10, and for individual positioning, you can also assign scores to the items. So the score calculation type can be either individual positioning or combined positioning. So individual scores will be added to all items positioned at the right place. If all are in the right place, then base score will also be added. This is true for individual positioning. And for combined positioning, then only the base score will be added if the final positioning is correct. Otherwise, no score will be given. So we're going to keep it individual positioning for now and add bonus points like this: 5, 5 and 5. Let's save the settings, save the form, and let us reload our quiz. Okay. So I'm going to drag it to the correct order, that is item 1, item 2, item 3. I'm going to submit it. Oops. So I'm going to submit it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so for the sortable list, the total print score is 25, 15 for the correct positioning and 10 for overall correct positioning. As you can see, base score was 10 and individual scores for each item was set to 5. That was all about scoring inside MCQ elements. Now let us see how we can assign scores for feedback elements, namely feedback large elements and feedback small elements. As you can already guess, these elements are something where user can input his own text. So if we are to assign score, we first need to enable the settings from here. Score. Let's add something like 10 to it. And save the settings. Similarly, for feedback large, we assign a score 10 and save the settings. Let's reload the form. Okay. Now I'm going to write something here. Now the trackback page would show scores for the MCQ elements but not for the feedback type elements, because these scores are still unassigned, and as an administrator you have to manually assign the scores. To do that, go to eForm, view all submissions, edit the submission, and inside the form you will be shown a spinner element where you can assign score, and you submit it. Now when the user accesses the trackback page, he or she will get the total score. Previously the total score was out of 125 and now it is out of 145 because the scores for the feedback elements have been added. Now we are going to see how conditional logic plays an important role on the scoring system. For that we are going to add another container and add a toggle button. Settings, and we are also going to add a simple container, and inside it we are going to add a few more MCQ elements, and we are also going to assign some scores. 10, 5, C minus 5, 1, 1, C minus 1. Okay, we fill up the first page of the form. Page. Sorry, I haven't really set the conditional logic yet. So this will show up if M8 has value which equals to 1. Let's refresh our page again. Now I'm not going to select on for this toggle element, so these elements M9 and M10 won't show up in our form. Let's submit the form and see what happens. So I have obtained a score of 100 out of 125. Notice that I have obtained a score out of 125. This total score does not really take into account the scoring from M9 and M10. But if I am to conditionally show those elements, let's see what happens. Now the total score is out of 137. That is, now the system takes into account the scores obtained and obtainable from these two elements. Now let's see how we can set up ranking system for our quiz form. To do that, we need to go to quiz settings, ranking system, and enable score based ranking system. So we set the ranking title to designation, and let's simply add a few ranks based on score obtained. For say minus 999 to 0, we set up the designation and message. From 0 to say 30. From 60 to say 90. From 90 to say 137, that is the maximum obtainable score, plus 10 and 10, so that 157. Let's submit our quiz again and see what happens. So as you can see, now the summary table also shows the designation the user has obtained depending on his score. The score I have obtained now is 111, which means that I have been designated as superb, and the designation message says you have done awesome. So you can change it accordingly. There is no limitation on that. You can have as many designations as you want. Do note that the score from and score to both are inclusive, and they are interpreted in the order you have specified in the form builder. The system will first check if the score is in between -9999 and 0. If not, then it will check if the score is between 0 and 30, and so on. Now let's see how we can add timer to our option, to our form. So to add timer, we need to enable the settings from quiz settings, quiz timer. We have two kinds of timer: overall time limit and page specific time limit. For overall time limit, the form will be automatically submitted if the timer times out. For demonstration, I'm going to set this to 10 seconds, and let's see what happens to our form. As you can see, the timer has popped in, and once it pops up, once it times out, the form will get submitted automatically. That's how it happens. We can also have page specific time limit, for which we need to set timing in the pages or containers. For that, we select the container and click on the settings icon, and here we set the container time limit. The default is 120 seconds, so change them accordingly. Let's see what happens to our quiz now. So we're in the first container, and as you can see, the timer has already popped in. When it times out, the system automatically progresses us to the next container or next page. And when the timer times out from the last page, the form submits. Now if you want to store the actual time taken by the user to submit your form, you need to enable this quiz stopwatch thing. Simply go to quiz settings with stopwatch and enable this option saying record form submission time. Once you do that, you will see a stopwatch popping in on the right hand side of your form, which will keep a track of the total time taken by the user. As you can see, the total time taken was 15 seconds. Now there is also an option to redirect based on the score user has obtained. For that, simply go to form settings and redirection and set the redirection type to score based redirection. First, you need to set up a base URL where the user will be redirected if none of the criteria matches, and then you need to set up redirection based on parameter. It has two options, percentage score and total score. I'm going to use total score for now. So let me set it up real quick. If the user has obtained a score between 999, -999 and 0, then redirection URL would be, say, google.com, otherwise would be, say, yahoo.com. Let's submit the quiz again to see what happens. I'm definitely going to get some positive scoring in this submission, and I'm just going to let the timer time out. Submit. So yes, I've been redirected to yahoo.com because my total score was obviously more than 0. 32 to be precise. So that's how quiz system works with eForm, and you can use the system to set up really complex quiz or really simple one. The choice is really up to you. If you have any question, or if you want to ask about something or some of the features, then feel free to ask in our support forum, and thanks for watching.